What is the most useless card in Clash Royale? So the other day I was playing a game with the Minion Horde in Clash Royale, and I'm like, this card is f***ing useless. So I started to think of what are the most useless cards in Clash Royale. So I compiled a list of the top 10 most useless cards in Clash Royale. The top useless cards are not necessarily the top worst cards. Some of the cards that are going to be higher on this list might be decent cards, but they are just completely outclassed by a better card. With that all being said, here are the top 10 most useless cards in Clash Royale. Just like the video and subscribe to the channel already. At number 10 is the Barbarian Hut. The Barb Hut is not necessarily a good card. It is much better after the buff that it got, that it now spits out 3 barbarians at a time. It's a lot better defensively, but honestly it's still not a great card, so that's why it's on this list. At number 9 is the Night Witch. The Night Witch is probably the worst legendary card in the game right now. It's really only good in Golem and an occasional Giant Graveyard deck. Honestly, outside of that, it's completely useless. There's no reason to use the card. With no death spawn bats or any kind of unique ability to it, it's honestly just completely outclassed and just a bad card overall. At number 8 is the Healer. The Healer is just not a great card. It has really only seen E-Golem, and it is insanely freaking annoying in that deck. It needs a complete rework. I don't necessarily know how you would rework it, but it needs a complete change because right now it is just a completely useless card. At number 7 is the Furnace. The Furnace is honestly one of the worst cards in the game. It's probably going to be in the top 3 worst cards in the game, but it is quite annoying in mid-ladder, so that's why it kind of rose up to 7 on this list. It is honestly just not good. The Fire Spirits don't create enough value for the 4 elixir when you can just put a spell on it and it's completely gone. It just isn't a great card overall. Number 6 is the Rascals. The Rascals is once again one of the worst cards in the game. It is decent in a couple of the bait decks, and it is not too bad in Mortar either. It just honestly needs a buff. The big dude in front needs to start actually hitting something, and the girls in the back need to do a little bit more damage. At number 5 is a Clone Spell. The Clone Spell is really only seen in Lava Hound and an occasional Golem deck. That's probably a good thing, because if the Clone Spell was good, it'd be so f***ing annoying and I'd probably quit the game. Honestly, the Clone Spell is one of the lowest skill cards in the game, and it really gets hard countered by everything, so I really don't know why you would use it. And number 4 is the Mirror. The Mirror is just one of those cards that should never be good. It is a meme card, and that's how it should stay. When it was 2 levels above for each time you put it down, it was so broken, and all you bums out there think that it should still be that way. It's going to be either OP or terrible, which is what it is right now. That it should never be good. People recommend that it should be a level and a half higher instead of 1 level, and I don't think that fixes the problem. I think it should just stay bad, it should stay dead, and it should stay useless like it is right now. And number 3 is the Wizard. I know all you mid-ladder menaces out there think that the Wizard is the best card in the game, but it's useless. There's no reason to ever use it. It's 5 elixir and it has 2 health. Yeah, it does a lot of damage and a lot of splash damage, but only an idiot would put a bunch of low health troops in front of a wizard. It's just bad. There's better options. You can use the Musketeer, you can use the Queen, you can use basically any other long range troop. You can basically use any other long-range troop. It's just better. The Wizard is just terrible, and that's why it's this low on the list. And number 2 is the Minion Horde. The Minion Horde is probably the worst card in the game right now. There's just no reason to ever use it. It's basically impossible to find a deck that doesn't have at least 1 counter to the Minion Horde. Yeah, it does a lot of damage, but then again, like, it dies immediately, every single time. There's basically no upside to using it at all. I just don't get why so many people try. And number 1 is the Mega Minion. The Mega Minion's not necessarily a bad card, but it's just totally outclassed. Almost every single air card is so much better. The Phoenix is basically just a better Mega Minion. The Mega Minion is like worse than the baby Phoenix that comes out of the big Phoenix for a whole extra whopping 1 elixir. It just makes no sense why you would ever use the Mega Minion anymore, so it either needs a complete rework or it honestly might just be taken out of the game.